Good morning and welcome to Melbourne, Australia for day one, game one of the Tomodachi tournament. It is a typical Melbourne overcast summer day. My name is Andy Moroney. I'm joining you in Melbourne, and we're joined from across the Nullarbor over in Perth by Avril Tam. Avril, good morning. It's very early in Perth, so we'll see if we can get Avril on at some point, but I think it's about maybe 5 a.m. there, so we'll get Avril on shortly. But in terms of the game, we've got Fuse versus Factory. Both teams, I believe, have finished their warm-up and done the flip.
Good morning, Andy. Avril here.
Avril, good to hear from you. It must be early over there. Thanks for jumping on the stream.
Yeah, sun's just coming up, so got the lights on in the lounge. But yeah, looking good, excited for a nice day of Ultimate.
Good. All right, we'll bring that sun this way because we can't see a sun right now. It's, as I mentioned, very overcast. In terms of the conditions, it's probably about 15 degrees, so a little chilly but not too bad. And for those watching the stream, we've got probably a crosswind, so it's coming from over the camera. So it'll be pushing to that far sideline. As we mentioned, Fuse will be coming out, I believe, on offense. I can't see a disc with them. And Factory starting at the right of screen there in red. So a couple of minutes now, it will be Fuse pulling, so it'll actually be Factory. So Fuse out of Brisbane, Factory a bit more of a pickup team, so players from all around the country really. So not too sure what we'll see from them, and it will be interesting to see Fuse. Fuse, as I said, up from Brisbane. Avril, what's your take on this game?
Yeah, that's right. I think Factory have got a combination of pickups from Factory themselves, plus we've got quite a few of the Zesty Chili, which is a Div 2 Chili women's team. Plus we've also got a few pickups from their head of state team. So it'll be an interesting mix. The chemistry might be a little bit interesting to start with, but I'm sure they'll get stuck into it.
Perfect, and we're off. Kat Smith, I think newly engaged Kat Smith. Lovely pull just past the brick mark, and Factory going to come. It's a match defense as we see a pick early on. Grace Spratt having to give it back, and even Lim. It's looking like a vertical offense. It's tapped in. Even Lim swings it back and goes to get it back. Nice little bit of handler movement to start with. Looks at the backhand instead, goes at forehand. Nice trailing, but Kat Smith gets the D. Nice D early on. Kat Smith, one of probably the most experienced player, played at a high level, has played on, I think, multiple Australian teams now. Do you know if that's right, Avril?
Yeah, that's right. I think she's played a combination of beach and grass in world competitions, so high caliber player right there.
Engages the dump straight away. Dump goes up the line. Nice break backhand to an up the line cut, and can't reel it in. As I mentioned, there is a little bit of wind today, so a couple of discs sitting up, especially if you give that inside out, it'll catch that lip. And again, the wind doing the opposite there. If you're throwing it outside in, the wind's going to push that down. So Kat Smith again, this time centers the disc back to the dump. Midfield. No dump back. Lovely trailing to an under. That's Adrian Fleming. Back to Kat Smith, who's going up the line. Little bobble, keeps it. And Kat rips a flick over the top, and that's the first goal. Really nice huck from Catherine Smith.
Beautiful. Just slipped over a couple of the defenders' hands there.
Yeah.
Almost looking for
and that began just... Exactly. It was nice because it was actually thrown to the open side. You'll see Kat going up the line here. So this is an open side throw, but as I said, you've got the wind pushing away from where you see the camera. So you see that little jump it gets over into the break side, even though it was an open throw. Really hard to defend. Defender had half a bite at it, but not to be. So that's first point of the game, and that's a break. First break of the game. Nice safe hands.
I believe that's Ash, it might be, that caught the goal there. Very nice. All
right, so Factory are going to get another go at it. you would probably say that this is the harder end to score. If you were calling an upwind end, it would be where Fuse are now. So which makes Cats Huck all the more impressive. They're going to have their work cut out for them.
Looks like Fuse have picked up Karimar from Ellipsis, so looking for a strong pull here.
In terms of pickups, it doesn't get much better than that. That's a very, very handy pickup.
Yeah, talking about Australian representatives, Karimar's got plenty of caps.
Factory trying to get some offense generating. Nice under getting thrown. Right on the sideline. Another trailing flick. Could have been there. Not to be.
That was Yulin putting that flick up. She's one of the Chile pickups. Actually started playing Frisbee when she was in Perth with Chaos. Ooh, and that's a really nice D from the dump defender there. I think that's even, right?
Correct. Really nice D. Anticipated the dump going off early and almost caught the D. She really wants a break throw. She's angling break. Almost travels, doesn't. Goes high release, backhand. And that's what happens when you throw it out to the break side. You always give... Exactly. You always give your teammates half a chance. If you're throwing it out to the break side, they've naturally got the advantage. So, little bit of a gamble, but overall safe. You could see there just the jinking of the head saying, yeah, exactly. Looks to the backhand. The count was probably getting high by that point. And even though it went over the first target, it was cleaned up at the back. So
there's always that space, just throwing that leading pass into the space and hope someone will go there. And Carmen Umbers, who's another one of the Chile pickups, successfully caught that goal. Well done, Carmen.
Totally agree. And it's one of those, if the ends justify the means, had it gone down, we probably wouldn't be saying that. But no, it was nice. You could see really early on. It was, even limbs, really clear intent to break. So it'll be interesting to see if she tries to do that every time she's got the disc.
Yeah, looks like she's definitely one of their handlers who's probably going to dictate a fair bit of play. So we'll see what else she comes up with for the rest of this game.
All right, so one apiece. This was the official camera photographers out capturing all the action. Pools coming up.
Factory having all the name tags as well. That's a classic.
Correct. Okay, so Fuse again setting up. Both teams setting up in a vert on their offenses so far. It's out wide. Another gaining under. That's a really nice one. That's Amanda Wong receiving the disc. Wong throws it under. Jodie Brown in the middle, but no dump. Wong goes to get it back. She's doing a lot of work in and around the disc. Wong then goes, sticks it up. It's a bit of a bladey flick, but it's going to work. That's a great goal. Adrian Fleming. If I was Factory, I'd probably be wanting to put a plan around Wong, because you can see went and got the disc a couple of times, continually cutting under. And then in motion, throwing a really nice outside in, just riding that wind a little bit. So though it looked quite bladey, it kind of used the wind to support it there and right onto the chest of her teammate. So nice play from Factory. Sorry, Fuse.
Absolutely, just using her legs to really power through. So I think Factory got their work cut out for them. It looks like Kat Smith is going to pull standard setup really for Fuse.
Yeah, I think if you've got Cara Ma and Kat Smith doing your pulling, you're in a pretty good spot.
Yeah, that's it.
And this is going to be interesting. They've overrun it. Factory have overrun it here, and it's going to roll out the back. So
Ooh.
This is a really good chance for Fuse to put pressure on the first pass and potentially get another break.
Well, Evie Lynn's on the disc, so hopefully she can get a nice first throw off and Factory can be on their way. You can see Carmen working hard to get the open under, but she goes for the lateral dump. Maybe a little bit of lack of chemistry with the pickups at the moment showing. A little bit messy in that handler space, not really clear who's taking that space.
Agreed, and Fuse really anticipating no long throw with the wind. Everything under was shut off. Ali Bowden with the Frisbee goes to Kat Smith. Kat Smith open stance, backhand, and that's a goal.
Textbook.
To Mei Lin. Another pickup, I believe, or is Mei Lin back in Brisbane these days?
I believe she might be back in Brisbane these days.
There we go. I've been out the game too much, Avril. Last time I checked, Mei Lin and Stu were down in Melbourne. They lived about 5 minutes from here, so
Very convenient then.
not a pickup. Yeah, would have been, but now it sounds like it's a bit of a trip. So fantastic. So really nice pull. I think really setting that up, and the defensive intensity. It was a really clear intent from Fuse to mark the unders, which made life really hard around those dumps. And Avril, as you say, for a team that might still be gelling a little bit with their pickups, Factory couldn't really get enough space around the dump, which forced the turnover.
Yeah, and I think with the shorter roster, I think perhaps the length of the game might be a little bit of a challenge as well. So we'll see how things play out. It's only 3-1 early days, but hopefully Factory can gear up a little bit, get a few more connections and play some good ultimate.
All right, so Fuse again with the pull. Pulls have been good. All of them have been in. And I had to say it, didn't I? No, it does land in just at about the halfway point. I thought I'd done it. Chloe McDonald, I believe. Yes, Chloe picking up. Really nice flat flick to the middle of the field, centering it. Good flow from Fuse. 2 throws. Again, hitting it under. That's even Lim.
And then Willem going up line. Perfect. And they're just on the red zone now. Oh, and there's a pick called.
Yeah, I think that'll come back. Play stopped. Probably the best flow of the game that we've seen from Factory.
Absolutely.
Count's getting a little high. Dumps her out of position, but managed to get up the line. A really nice grab.
Beautiful.
Even Lim with the goal. That's harder than it looks. That disc was, as I said, a few of these discs are coming out at a fair angle. That's what you call a one-timer. You've got one crack at that. And I think probably a reflex grab as much as anything. Not easy when you're going up the line. You're not entirely sure what's ahead of you. You think you've got that space, but you never truly know when you're a handler going up the line. You don't know if there's a defender there. You also can't see kind of whether you're in bounds. So you can see, you've seen the space up the line has gone, but you're looking backwards, so, and you can see that disc. There's a last minute change, which is adjusted well, and a good one-handed grab.
And I think there's only been 2 points scored on this end so far, so definitely the trickier end
Correct.
So far in this game.
Definitely.
Waiting for the disc to come over for the pull.
You can see Fuse lined up. You can see a coffee van behind Fuse. Now that would be nice. So what's the coffee like in Perth, Avril?
I actually am not a coffee drinker, so I couldn't tell you, to be honest. But it was interesting because moving over to Melbourne in November last year, definitely a massive coffee culture. So fortunately can't be a part of it, but that's right, I'll stick with my green teas.
I don't even like it, but I just do it for the caffeine hit. So,
because you're Melbourne.
But if you and you can't. It kind of comes with the territory. So Factory now with the pull. Another decent one. Going to make or just clear the brick mark inbounds. And it looks like a bit of a different look here from Fuse now, as it's clearly a pull reception play.
Oh, that's a beautiful
That's Megan O'Regan.
Perfectly weighted. Ooh, the defender was bloody close to that, but successful completion.
And they knew it.
Yeah, that was a nice horror setup, and like you said, a pull play, just heaps of space out the back, perfectly weighted huck. Doesn't get much better than that.
Yeah, this, of course, being a lead-up tournament to Nationals, fantastic opportunity for teams like Fuse, who would definitely be in the mix, to try out what's very clearly a preset play. You see just to the left of screen, the mids, they were only thinking one thing, and that's Megan O'Regan Artau going deep straight away. And yeah, you were right. Probably gave the defender half a sniff. And a really nice put, must be said as well. That's Jodie Brown. Nice flat to her teammates' advantage.
Oh, the fingertips, they were bloody close there.
Megan would say it was safe all day. But as we said before, ends and means. It's listed as a goal in the score sheet. So
that's what counts.
That's all that matters, exactly. So Fuse 4, Factory 2. Fuse enjoying a couple of breaks, but Factory staying in touch, as it is Karamar once again with another really good pull. And Chloe McDonald with the disc. Chloe looks under. Mark being really aggressive, trying to take away both sides, and that win just playing a little bit of havoc with Evian Lim. Again, just the last-minute bobble. She was able to contain it when she went up the line for the goal, but this time it just moved out of her hand. So Fuse with another chance to put a break in. Factory forcing home. Not a lot of movement. Malin goes open side, not on. Moves it back to Kat Smith. Kat looks at the break side, instead throws the open flick. There's a little bit of air under it. It's going to be a raffle, but it's a goal.
It's a nice contest there by the Factory player, Chloe McDonald, I believe. Yeah,
Georgia Sullivan just in front of her, and Chloe letting her know, you did pretty well there. So,
and in the spirit of Tomodachi, a nice little hug as well to celebrate.
Exactly. A lot of mutual respect by the players shown. Sullivan did really well to kind of use her body to protect the drop zone there. Kat did put a little bit of air under it, and you could see Chloe wanting to get over the back.
You can see it kind of went up and down in the wind when it was up in the air as well, so it's a bit of a difficult read, but she did very well to pull that down.
Agreed. Grab under pressure. And unfortunately, what's the time here? It's 20 past 9 in Melbourne, but it's not getting any warmer. Middle of summer, and the jackets are going on. So
you just wait. There'll be 4 seasons before you know it.
I hope so. We got the ordinary ones out of the way. We are due for a little bit of sunshine.
Well, it's been interesting in Perth. There's been a heat wave the past week, 41 a couple of days and high 30s.
Anywhere in the middle ground, I think we'd take, to be honest. Probably not too keen for the 41. I mean, I did bring my sunscreen, but don't really want to use it for something like that. So Fuse opening up a little bit of a gap now on Factory, 5-2. I'd say the difference has probably been that pressure around the disc as we see the pull go up. Fuse probably just pressuring the unders a little bit more, challenging Factory to throw over the back of them. And as yet, Factory haven't been able to bring that. So Factory sticking with their vertical. Nice open under. That's Yulin, or Yules. Cycling it back a little bit nicer movement around the disc as Yules goes the break backhand. Not enough air underneath it, it's a turnover.
Looks like Yules and Even are connecting pretty well, actually, for people who haven't played together before.
Agreed. There is a bit of a flow, and you've seen, I think one of the Factory's 2 goals was a result of that handler movement.
Absolutely.
Oh, nice. Oh,
that shake and bake.
Perfect huck.
Well received by Ellen Fuse, just knocking on the door now. Waiting for teammates to get in position, and a lovely, lovely pass over the top for the score. And
excellent point.
6-2, I believe.
6-2, yeah, really good flow. That would have been Fuse's defensive unit, I believe, coming out. Their ability, once it in transition, they've picked up the disc. It's clear they've got real discipline. They know who's cutting. They're protecting that space, as we'll see the replay shortly. Everyone on the team knew their role. They knew what they were doing. That huck was perfect. Right into the running stride of Ellie Smith. Really good flow. That's kind of 3-4 pass offense. Kept her cool. Through a nice leading pass to O'Brien. So 6-2, as you say, Avril, opening up a bit of a lead. What would you be saying to the Factory team right now if you were the coach?
Oh, I'd probably say just up the communication, and that way you can get a few more connections, potentially sniff at a block or two. I think just being really directive, particularly the person with the disc in hand, telling everyone else what you want. That way it's easy, they can just follow that instruction.
I like it, I'll pass it on if we get a chance. Karamar with the ball. Factory again setting up vert. Chloe McDonald with the disc. Looks to break backhand. Can't get anything off. Looks flick. Holds flick. Count gets up, so she's going to look to dump it off. Really good coverage from Carol on the dump. High count, and that's going to be a turn. Malian and now Fuse look to run, to pop it in. This is their defensive unit again. Stokes with the disc. Goes to Ma. Ma unmarked. So she does not have a count. Does not need to throw in any hurry. Swings it out to Malian. Kara's still poached. Now the match comes. But it looks like Factory just struggling. It does seem like there's half a player free at any point. There's another one there right on the end zone line. That's Bowden. Back to Karamar. Karamar, quick fire flick, and that's a goal. Fleming again. I think that's Fleming's third goal of the match so far.
Yeah, straight to the cone, classic combo really. But I was really quite impressed with how Factory held Fuse, really made them throw quite a few lateral passes, maybe 4 or 5 in a row. So well done to Factory.
Agreed. I mean, we saw it in the point immediately prior. Fuse, I think it was a 4-5 pass offense. So they really looked to be aggressive on the turn, whereas, as you say, this time they did need to bounce it around a few times. And Karamar, that said, Karamar was pretty comfortable directing that point. I love to see that quick fire flick, nice, flat into the path of Fleming, who, as I said, I think that's her third goal. So putting a decent case forward for MVP early in this match.
Absolutely. When the stat sheet looks good, it's always a good feeling.
Looking like the best day ever for that pup, seeing a few discs go up. I'll be honest, I won't be mad if he or she wants to jump on the field and disrupt play.
Interestingly, there's actually Vision Australia, so there's often some guide dog events and stuff on the field just next to the venue.
Correct. (7-2). Fuse using that discipline and their, I guess, the drive of their defensive unit to not give it back and to be really aggressive once they do get the turn. Factory just putting it together. Like you say, Avril, they're a team with a few pickups, so this first game is as much about chemistry as anything. And they're starting to get that. A few free unders.
It's very nice under.
Lim getting every second pass. Chloe Mack looks to go long, instead hits the discipline under, and Lim will throw the inside out backhand. That's going to come back in bounds, but to the advantage. I think that's Fleming again. So one of the Factory players down, but that's okay.
I think that might be G actually. G and then Kat Smith.
There's player going long. It's a 2-on-1.
Difficult down that sideline, hey?
Yeah, I don't think it was a bad look. I just think, there we go. There's some marked up defense. Go. Yeah, I just think the cut was probably too developed. It was maybe a bit early, or Kat saw it a bit too late, so the player had to stop. And Factory's again still struggling just to get the first that first pass off. So Fuse with another go. It'll be Kat Smith going to the disc. Cat big, raking, break, backhand, and that's a goal. That's a fantastic throw. Throw of the day so far, I think.
Absolutely. The float on that was just sublime.
And that's Serge with the goal. I'm not going to try and pronounce her first name because I will butcher it. But a nickname?
I did try to look this up last night. It was Sursa, I believe, but Serge, her nickname, is probably going to be a bit easier for us today. Hopefully we'll be calling it a few more times.
And if you are noticing something a bit strange about Factory's uniforms, Avril, you mentioned it earlier, they because there are a few fresh players, I think it's like masking tape with their names on it.
Ah, creative. I was going to say they were very prepared, having the labels ready to go.
I love it. I've played with the same team for like 15 years and I still don't remember my teammates' names, so I think every team should do it.
I think
some
the
of
most
them
shocking
weren't
thing
worth
is
knowing.
when you know someone by their nickname and then you find out their real name and you're like, really?
It's super jarring. As we see a timeout here, you're right, it's super jarring. And for those newer to the community, it's a very tight-knit community, so it means there are a lot of nicknames that fly around, particularly in teams where, you might have, 3 Sallys or Georges or Stevens, so you pretty quickly get stuck with the nickname, whether you like it or not. Again, in Australian culture, it's quite un-Australian to give yourself a nickname. It's often assigned to you, so if you don't like it, bad luck. I can personally attest to that. I'm not a fan of all the nicknames, but I've been called Avril, in your team, what are you known as? What's your other nickname, or have you not been assigned one yet?
Just a straightforward Av, to be honest. I don't think you can get very creative with my name, unfortunately, but we'll see. We're supposed to be playing with Chile this season, so I might get a new one in a new club.
All right, well, I'm going to go over and see if they're going with nicknames on the factory team with the masking tape. We might take a quick break. We'll rejoin. It was half, actually, I believe, 8-2, not a timeout. So Fuse in control at the moment, but we'll be back in about 30 seconds for the second half. All right, as we're looking at the highlights of the first half, Fuse versus Factory. Fuse out of Brisbane, Factory a bit of a mishmash team from all over the country, including Hot Chili, heads of state. 8-2 is the score in Fuse's favour. Fuse looking really disciplined, especially their defensive unit, rarely giving the disc back once they see it, and really striving to score quickly within the first 4 or 5 throws. So it's all ahead of Factory to try and protect the disc a little bit more, not give Fuse as many looks. And perhaps build on their long game. Fuse really anticipating there's a lot of pressure on the under throws. Not a lot of hucks going from Factory, but when they have actually, I think that was one of their 2 goals that they did score was off a longer range throw. So not far away from the second half action. As we see Factory finish their cheer. Fuse taking a little bit more time, so we'll take a very quick break and come back ready for the pull of the second half. Welcome back to the second half of Game 1, Day 1 of the Tomodachi tournament down here in Melbourne at Kooyong.
Some beautiful cloudy skies for this morning's first game of the day.
I know, tell me about it. It's going to burn off, Avril, that's what I keep telling myself. We're going to see some sun at some point. I don't know if I'll be cracking out the coconut tanning lotion, but hopefully Melbourne can remember that it's actually the middle of summer. Put on something decent for us.
Did you get a good look at the nicknames during the break?
Not really. They were pretty deep in discussion. Obviously, Factory being a team that's gelling, there was plenty of exchange of ideas, talking about their different structures, adjustments that they want to make, probably learning their names, so I didn't want to intrude, but once Chloe Mack walks by, Chloe and I are pretty tight, so I might ask a favour and get a bit of an inside scoop as to whose idea because it's, as I said, it's a cracking idea. Whose idea the sticky tape was? Might see if I can get Chloe, Matt. Chloe, the sticky tape with the name tags, whose idea was that?
I have no idea because I was late. But most of us, we're from 3 different teams, so we don't actually know each other particularly well, so that's how we can know each other now.
And did you just think you're above the sticky tape? Everyone knows who you are because you're a bit of a big shot, is that?
Yeah, totally. That's definitely it. It has nothing to do with me being like half an hour late at all.
Fantastic. Well, thank you for the insight, Chloe. Chloe, the only player without the name tag. A little bit arrogant if you ask me, but she is a big deal. Represented multiple Australian teams, has every right to be. Okay, Fuse right into it. Make some really aggressive moves. Karimai outside flick, but it bubbles out. Jodie Brown had a shot at it, but it sits out. So Factory, chance to put a break in. Again, really struggling. Look for the high release lefty backhand. Can't get it. Pressure on the dump. It gets it off. Grace Spratt gets the give and go. And now a longer throw. Really nice flat back flick outside. Run onto by Yulin. Looks to punch it in, but there's a turnover. So Karimar now down the sideline. She's going to send one back. Nice, really weighted backhand. Is it going to stay in? It doesn't.
I think that might have been the first time Fuse have turned the disc, actually, and Factory did really well to move it up quickly. Yulin did well to get open on the open under, and really nice attempt at the huck, unfortunately just a little bit too low.
Maylin's kind of in two minds, trying to, Maylin trying to tow it in as Factory again, just struggling on those first couple of throws. Fuse doing a really good job at setting the defence, struggling to get open on those first throws. So Brown, another really good break. One of the I guess themes from Fuse is seeing a lot of step around break backhands.
Yeah, absolutely. I think Factory might have to think about adjusting their mark a little to cover those, force them to throw something else as a second option.
Yeah, you're spot on, Avril. Like, you got 3 players who have a really big step around break backhand, and that's Brown, it's Karimar, and it's Kat Smith.
Kat Smith, yeah.
So even, if it's those 3 players that you're adjusting for, ideally you do it across the board, but in particular, those really experienced handlers, because right now the mark is just half a step too close, if that makes sense, and not around on the angle enough. So it's opening up the ability for them to just step around their entire body and throw a really stable break. So we've seen at least 2, if not 3, break backhands go through for the goal.
Yeah, absolutely. I was going to say the same thing. I think the mark's a little bit too close, so they're not really covering as big a window as they could if they just took 1 step or half a step back and really use that triangle kind of shape to cover those rounds a bit more. I think it'll make it a lot tougher for Fuse.
As Factory getting a little bit nicer flow now. Got the first 2 throws off, and now they're into the play. But Kat Smith, lovely run through D, anticipated it, saw that what the thrower wanted and got to that space before her opponent. But now Fuse. Now Factory doing a reasonably good job around the disc. Fuse having to move it laterally. It's back to Kat Smith. There's a throw, cut going long. Doesn't like it. Good discipline. Instead of cut going up the line. Gets it open. Nice under backhand. And now the disc goes up. They should get a few players under this one. Jumps out. Really hard disc to read that one, doing a couple of different things in the air. Chloe McDonald with the disc. Heard saying, "Don't you know who I am?" to the rest of the team. Excellent low.
Beautiful inside break. Even Lynn was looking for that long, but don't think anyone was there. Goes for the safe dump to Chloe Mack. And then nice under there.
Spratt.
So that might be forced middle, so downfield having to adjust a little.
Mary Tony starting to get a bit of disc as well to Yu Chen. Probably the best flow of the game, Avril, that we would have seen out of Factory there. A lot of throws, but the throws on low counts and pretty for most of it. Pretty safe throws as well.
Yeah, absolutely. I think that force middle, the downfield cutters actually worked quite well in that space.
So Fuse with the disc again, but all the work to do from the back of their own, or from the front of their own end zone. Dump it into the middle. Cat covered really well, but eventually gets free. Long cut goes, but they're too deep, so Cat instead hits a nice under. Centered. Tony had half a sniff. Managed to hold. They're doing a bit of a better job now holding the break. All these throws going to the open side. Count's getting high. Dumps back. An awkward one.
Ooh.
Just kind of got underneath Stokes a little bit.
I was just about to say Fuse are looking very disciplined, but I suppose that was more of an execution error than a decision error. And then chance for Factory now. That, 10 20 metres out of end zone. Dump to Chloe Mack. What's she looking for?
Another excellent low flick. Mary Tony.
Yay!
Good discipline,
well done,
and that's
Factory.
the goal. Yu Chen, that's their third goal of the game. And starting, again, on that point, they took a couple goes at it, but starting to get a little bit smoother, more disciplined. Their throws coming out on 3, 4 counts, not 7, 8 counts. Chloe again, so flat, nice, puts air under it, makes life so easy for Tony. Just a little bit of discipline, and Yu Chen for the goal.
I'm just looking at her pivot, really low release, nice and balanced. It's exactly what you want. So we saw Mary Tony get her hands on the disc a fair few times at that point. She started playing Ultimate in Ballarat University back in 2013, and she's one of the head of state pickups for today's.
So let's see if Fuse can, let's see if Factory can build on a bit of this momentum. Got their third point of the game. Their defensive unit is out. Fuse ready to pull. Factory ready to, oh God. This is what happens when you got two teams standing at the same letter. I'll just start saying red team, blue team. Okay, just past the brick mark. Fuse again running a really clear pull reception play. That's a 2-pass offense.
It's over before we knew it.
Correct. And for those not as familiar with the jargon, a pull reception play is obviously the pull has gone up. That's what starts the point, and it's basically a plan that the offense has around the first 2 to 3 throws of the game of the point. So you'll see that first throw went out to the under, and then you had the huck that went long. But every player on the field knew what they were doing. So that's not just the players that are cutting, getting the disc. It's also really important the players not getting the disc know what they're doing as well, because if they're not keeping their defender engaged, that defender will go off and try and get involved.
Oh, we've got a
so
corgi
Royal
now.
Highness might be around, yeah.
Ooh.
It's quite a long corgi as well. Hello, buddy. Oh, you're looking for food? Oh, hello, you're gorgeous. Come here. And this corgi has made it to the sideline, has made it to the Fuse sideline. I don't know if I don't know if we're getting any chance of getting something started, because this fella's living his best life. The entire Fuse sideline is now there, so it's going to be a real struggle for the Fuse team to get any defensive intensity, given their sideline will be giving them absolutely bugger all support, because there's a ball on the sideline. As there's a brick that's being called from Factory. First brick of the game, I think. So clearly this corgi having an impact.
Oh, straight away. So I think we've got Kate, who's going to start for the big mark, and we've got Chloe Mack, who's in the dump space. Oh, beautiful inside flick. That's to Tony, I think. Oh, and to Wish, good bid to try and save it, but unfortunately bobbles out of the hands. And maybe
I think it bobbled out of her hand, but yeah, I think it came off. She kind of deflected it into her nose, so.
Oof. Let's have a look at that replay. It was a nice little 7 cut actually, but just the deflection just caught her off guard perhaps.
I think the fact she's
maybe
wearing
blood rule
glasses doesn't help. Yeah, well,
no.
She wears glasses, so I think it probably popped up into her glasses as well. But she's okay. She's smiling. The glasses look like they're in one piece. So we'll get an injury sub. Be Mary Tony coming on. And Fuse with a chance now. So 10-3, Fuse with a chance to put another break in. They're taking it from about halfway. Really
another
nice
lovely inside.
Yep. Good pressure building now from Factory.
Well,
Having to work it through the open side. Recycling it back. Working it through the open side. Looks for the wide flick. Now around to the break. Another big step around to Maylin. And a break, but that'll be out of bounds.
Chloe Mack did really well to go and contain that breakthrough, which really forced Maylin to throw it a little bit too wide out the sideline. Well done, Factory, on really working at it and forcing some pressure and forcing some turns.
Yeah, you're spot on. Like, that's the adjustment we were talking about, and Chloe is probably one of the most experienced players on this team. Knew it was on her to take responsibility to make that break as hard as possible. So Factory with a chance to get it back in, but can't convert.
That's one of those miscommunication errors with the pickup team, I think. Don't think that will be happening later in the day.
Exactly. Again, that Spratt again on the mark, adjusted, stepped back, didn't let Brown throw around. She eventually does now, but not a severe a break, more a swing. And out to the break side, Fuse scoring the goal.
Adrian Fleming, of course. Another one on the stat sheet.
Number 4, if not 5, so giving it a fair old crack, Fleming.
So I believe Adrienne played for the Barramundis in the recent AOU GC, which is the Australian mixed team. She began playing socially in Townsville first and then moved to Brisbane in 2021 and started playing with Fuse and more competitively, and she's looking forward to making new friends at this tournament.
And speaking of friends, I believe she has a housemate on the team as well.
That's it. Looks like Ali Bowden, number 11. So hopefully using that housemate chemistry.
If we get a chance, we might try and see if there are any housemate politics. Who doesn't do the dishes? Who leaves the lights on when they leave? Who doesn't clean up the living room? It's kind of a rite of passage for a lot of. Oh, yeah. Who doesn't even do the laundry? Who doesn't wash their sheets? It's a bit of a rite of passage.
Westies in the background. We've got a few dogs out and about this morning.
It's a beautiful dog park, and as you say, there's I think it's Vision Australia over the back, so very good for dogs. But yes, it is a bit of a rite of passage for ultimate. As a lot of players have, like you start playing it in uni, so going doing the share house thing, moving in with other players that play, pretty common thing. So Kat Smith, really good pull. As we see Chloe Mack with the disc in the midfield. And a junk being thrown from Fuse now, so Fuse looking to try a few different things. Lim getting around it a little bit. Chloe Mack in popping. Out to Lim. Chloe and Lim working it really well, getting every second pass. And now Fuse collapsing in around Chloe a little bit. Going to put a lot of bodies around the disc. Really good popping from Factory. Great grab. Ooh, keeps it alive.
Amazing.
Really nice reflex grab, Chloe Mack. This is where they just want to be patient here. They've done so well throwing 1 metre passes. Don't try and change what's working. Count must be getting high. Back to Lim. Unfortunately, the wind just jumped up. That was almost one of those spend it before you have it.
Yeah, Factory did so well to work with their legs. Kate, Chloe, Mack and Lim all working really nicely together. Ooh, and another one that bobbles out of the hands by Fuse. So Factory get another crack at it. Kate's picking up quickly before they set. A little inside, a bit floaty. Even Lim's got the read. What a beautiful, beautiful cool down. Well done, Factory. Some reward for effort.
Yeah, agreed. Lim had a really good read on that the whole time. There was a little bit of air. It did sit up a little bit, but she's one of the taller players on the field and picked it up early, knew what the kind of flight path was going to be, and it was a double-handed grab. Had a few players around her, but because she'd set up kind of her positioning so well, they couldn't really make a contest. So,
yeah, and I think like G did on that end before, she projected the drop zone quite well, so that really helped.
Yeah. So as you say, reward for effort, 11-4.
It's some quick games this tournament, 60-minute time slots, I believe, so can creep up on you pretty fast.
Agreed. We play half at 8. I think each team does have a timeout, but they're pretty speedy. I think they're like, because as you say, it's a 60-minute game. I think it's only like a 45-second timeout. So
right.
It means I don't need to dig too far into my kit bag of small talk or dad jokes. So I think pretty good for everyone. Actually, it's a
win-win. All right, I've got Kate who's going to be pulling for Factory. A little bit of a low one, but makes it just to the brick mark. And we've got Fuse picking up. Factory now on the mark, putting some pressure on that dump. Goes for the dump other side to Karimar. She's looking for the big, but doesn't go up. Coming to the middle of the field to Maylin. And then out to the side to the open space. Oh, and a lateral cut. Oh, she's looking for the big, but didn't look like it was on. Again, Factory
sure what
very
offense
well
they're
to
going
really
with.
make it very quite congested. Close to the
Yeah.
disc. The Factory moving up the far end, the far side.
Yeah, Fuse are playing some kind. I'm not sure what offense it is. It's kind of a mix of Vert and Horo. It's really hard to tell. Which is
arrival on that far sideline. Forcing quite a few lateral passes without much gaining. And as I say that, they move up the field. Oof, Maylin good attempt, but the throw made it very difficult to catch. And we've got, is it Tony who's walking up to the disc?
Sprat.
Sprat. Got Wish back on field after that injury. Nice attack in the underspace.
Oh,
long. Oh,
picked their receiver well. Hi. And that's a really nice goal from Factory. Avril, I think we may have lost you there.
Yeah, sorry, the reception obviously wasn't quite up to speed.
No, but you called the important part well, as we just see, as you say, the long limbs of Sprat. Does look similar to Mary, but Mary plus probably 2 foot. So definitely picked her receiver well. Nice, double-handed.
Is that 2 in a row for Factory?
I mean, you said it at the start of the game, Avril, you know, Factory being a pickup team, you expect to see them get better, you know, and any kind of errors they're making at the start of the tournament, you're probably not going to see them make it towards the end of it because, you know, firstly, they're picking their receivers as they did there. If you're going to put one up, put it up to the Neon 6-footer. But you'll definitely see them improve throughout the course of the tourney.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to seeing some more of their live stream games probably later today and tomorrow. Let's have a look. So Factory is scheduled for another live stream tomorrow at 12 o'clock. So we'll see what progress I've made over the weekend. And that's a really nice pull by Even Lim. And Kat Smith's got it a bit past the break mark. Open side throw and another long, lovely huck on a dime, beautifully weighted, and that's a goal for Fuse, and that makes it 12-5.
Yep, well called. I think we've seen, you know, if you look at the themes of Fuse's play, there are probably three things that stand out. One is their ability to break through the mark, particularly their handlers on those break backhands, people like Ma and Smith. Their aggression on defence once they've got the turn. You know, they're looking to score in 4 or 5 passes, and Avril, you mentioned earlier that they rarely give it back. And then the third is their pull reception plays. You know, so that was clearly another one within the first 3 or 4 passes. They're really looking to be aggressive to score the goal, you know, if not have it on their end zone line, which is why we're seeing an 11-5 scoreline, I believe.
11-5, my apologies. Yeah, I think Fuse are really using, well, they're very disciplined, particularly downfield, to preserve the space, and it's really, really clear to the throwers who the target is. So if they keep doing that, they'll be doing well for the rest of the tournament.
Avril, never doubt yourself, please. It is now 12-5. You were right, we were wrong.
Just a little bit slow on the shot clock.
Pull goes up.
We've got Kate, who's picking up the disc. Chloe Mack again in that dump space, nice and safe. And she goes to Chloe Mack indeed. Even Lim coming down, no, but we're back to Kate. And we've got that zone look from Fuse again, which Factory do pretty well to cut through with their legs and a couple of throws through the cup. Chloe Mack really just getting every second pass. This time, Yules, and then to Ainsley. Oof, very nice to Kate. Chloe, gosh, you're moving so fast I can hardly keep up. All right.
Chloe doing so well as...
a little bit now.
Yeah, Chloe's doing so well as the popper. Bit of a trait within her brother is probably the second best popper in Heads of State. So it's clearly a McDonald's clan thing.
Yeah, it's an inherited trait. Well done. All right. And Chloe again. Chloe and Kate really just marshalling up the field with some camos from Yules. Interestingly, Even hasn't really been too much part of this point, but she's been preserving space and making sure she pulls those defenders out of the way. Now Yules with the disc just on the... Oh, and she goes for... Wow! Well done, Yules. She goes for a really nice backhand around break. Shoots through.
Absolute laser.
Very nice.
Yeah, I mean, as you called, Avril, really nice patience. Fuse, obviously, as we mentioned, lead up tournament. They've got a pretty healthy gap here, so this is where it's their chance to throw their junk or their zone look. But Factory, especially for a pickup team, working really well as we're about to see this wide release, flat backhand out on the wing, caught the wing, kind of that wing pulling in a little bit, which left the space open wide. So, as you say, G and Chloe Mack marshalling that point. But the thing about a zone is it's not just about the players that have the disc or in around the disc. It's about the players that don't have, pulling out into space. And you mentioned, you know, players staying away from the disc. Sometimes it's important there because you'll then engage a defender who can't leave you because they know if they do, you'll be a threat.
Yeah, absolutely. And I was really impressed as well. I saw Ainsley and Yules, who are part of the Chile squad, getting involved, Heads of State, obviously with Chloe and Kate. So really good to see some inter-club connections.
So pull goes up, another decent one. Going to get a look at Fuse's O-line, and they've collapsed back into a vert. Smith with it. Looks to get the up the line throw off and does, and that's pinpoint. That's Bowden. Then hucks it. This will come back in. Hey, nice
Even Lim. Well read. Just those arm just reached over the top and managed to hook it out of bounds. Yeah, I think
well
his offense player actually did quite well to try and box wrap, but she's just a little taller than expected, perhaps.
Yeah, spot on.
Being a shorty myself, I've unfortunately been in that situation a few times. Oh, that just got bobbled. Oh, and Fuse make quick work of that. So even Lynn threw the disc into the mark, bounced off the mark, and she tried to bid for that second, third, fourth, and fifth, but unfortunately it was a turn, and Fuse just made light work of that.
I was going to say she had more than one go at it, so yeah, let's have another look. Throw 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. She's already laughing. She needed to stop laughing. As there's a little bit of chat on the field, I think we're talking about time cap. We would be getting close.
Well, I think I saw a Bernese in the background of that shot.
You did. There are 2 of them.
They are beautiful breeds.
And now we are seeing game point, so it'll be last point now.
Perfect. So 13-6, obviously Fuse being the well-oiled machine, very disciplined, versus the pickups of Factory. But I've been really impressed with Factory, to be honest. Their defensive pressure has remained high throughout the whole game and very consistent. And, you know, towards the latter half of this game, certainly making a few more connections on those O's, points, some nice flow, really cutting through Fuse's zone. So looking forward to see what they bring to the rest of the tournament and again on the live stream tomorrow.
Agreed. I think they've got a lot to take out of the game. They've definitely finished it stronger than they started it. If they keep doing that, they're going to have a really good weekend. So, final point of this game. Great early anticipation, D. Fuse with a chance to finish it now on a real strong note. Moving it up. Count getting high, no dump back. Maylin now goes back, manages to get it just behind her. Throws a low flick, but that won't have enough juice on it. Factory will get it back just about 5 metres up from their end zone line. Long huck goes up. Maylin's got the sit underneath, gobbles it up, two-handed grab. Fuse once again looking to be really aggressive, 2-pass defense. Nice huck, sits down really nicely, and that will be the game. Adrian Fleming with either her 5th or 6th goal has had an absolute blinder. And that brings an end to the first game of the Tomodachi tournament. Fuse looking really good with their breaks, their set plays, and their aggression once they get the disc back from D, scoring in 2 points just like they did on that last point of the game. Avril, over in Perth, it's been a pleasure. We will be back on at 10:30, I believe. So we've got half an hour, and it'll be Manly versus Chaos.
Can't wait. I'll see you then.
Fantastic.
Those who do not know their history can never relive it. The skies, the dives, the sideline smiles. Our past is held in photo albums, drinking stories. The present is a gift. And here at ULTI.TV, we want to make sure we always appreciate it, capturing the immortal moments of Ultimate from around the world and making sure everyone can enjoy them for free, forever. Because the future belongs to all of us.
ULTI.TV